Welcome back to the Downward Podcast. I'm your host, Arian Foster, Bobby Fino, a.k.a. the Pod God. And I have another special guest in the building, my friend, Jenny Johnson. She's,
Pod Goddess.
Pod Goddess, all right.
All right.
I got a trademark, though.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You're always one step ahead.
Goddess is a trademark, though. You might have to swoop in on it.
I'm going to have to try to get that.
Yeah, for sure.
My birthday's next month. You could do that for me.
Nah. It just takes so much, like, you have to...
It's a lot.
You have to do through, like, lawyers and the legal, and it's just...
Yeah. I saw Bun B, somebody trademarked Trill for him.
Did they really?
Yeah, and I was like, I want somebody to do some shit like that.
That's just dope.
Because I don't want to have to go through the trouble.
Yeah.
I want it, but I don't want to have to go through the trouble of doing it.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope, though.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned Bun.
Yeah.
She hails from Houston.
Yeah, Bay City, Texas, to be specific, but I consider Houston.
How long? You lived in Houston longer than Bay City, though?
No, I grew up in Bay City.
Where's Bay City? I've never even...
Bay City is like between Galveston and Corpus.
I know where
on the
I
coast.
know where Galveston.
You know Matagorda Bay? You ever heard of that?
No, I don't travel much. I'm a homebody.
Oh, well, yeah, but you know, like when you're watching the news in Houston, and
I
then,
definitely don't do that.
like you know, Wharton. Have you heard of Wharton? Have you heard of?
Jesus. I know you said Corpus.
Where Corpus Christi
I know
is,
where that
and where
is.
Galveston is.
Okay.
Bay City's right in the middle.
Bam.
Yeah, on the coast.
Corpus.
Yeah,
Corpus
Gulf-
Christi's where Selena is from, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Selena Quintanilla.
Yeah, that was my lady growing
Bitty
up.
bitty bum.
Bitty bitty bum bum. For
Oh my
sure.
God, I love Selena.
So you from Houston,
Yep.
and you are your profession is comedian,
Comedian, writer. Yeah.
What else? I don't want to disrespect.
Well, I used to be.
Craft.
I started off like graduate of Sam Houston State University.
Whoop.
Yeah, eat 'em up cats, and then I was moved to Austin. I worked in. My first job was actually like operating the studio camera and rolling the teleprompter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on a morning show, and then I worked my way to like doing sports producing, and that's what I always kind of wanted to do was do something. I thought I wanted to be on ESPN, and then I realized like as an on-air person, terrible.
Yeah.
Because you can't really be yourself.
At all.
No. Like
People get fired.
you've been interviewed a million times by sports reporters and everything, and if somebody was like, "Oh, how bad is that fucking guy suck?" like that guy fucking took a cheap shot, right? No one's gonna air that, and I realized like, yeah, maybe producing and writing is better for me. So I did that for a period of time in Austin, San Antonio, and then I kind of made the switch to news. Because as a sports producer, there's really no room for growth.
Yes.
You're just
It's either ESPN or local, right?
right. But you're, like if you're a news producer, you can be a senior news producer, an executive. Like there was, and so when I kind of made that switch in San Antonio from sports to news, and then went to Houston, did that for a while, and I always was on the side writing comedy stuff, like writing for freebie magazines, and I was like, yeah. I kept doing it, and then, but it fell on deaf ears. It never really went anywhere. It was, and then when Twitter came about, and
like 2009.
2009. So it was like 10 years ago.
Right.
Actually, I even got a thing. It was like celebrating my 10th anniversary or something. But the funniest part was, it's like happy anniversary, and it was the same day. I'm divorced, but it was the same day that my wedding anniversary would have been.
Cheers.
I was laughing so hard. I was like, what are the fucking odds? And then I thought, on my anniversary, I joined Twitter.
That's amazing.
Like, maybe
you were really bored.
I was. That's what I thought. I'm like, maybe that's a fucking sign that this shit wasn't going.
I met this really cool guy there. We're going out.
Yeah, it's like, no.
Really cool app that just came out, too.
Yeah,
So.
we just got married, and I'm on my phone going, there's a thing I can write dick jokes on. How about that? That'll be great.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. But when that happened, and I was working in Houston, and all of a sudden I was like following different comedians, and I started writing jokes, and it just kind of took off. Like,
was there anyone in particular that was like, this is overwhelming?
Well, it was like when you would get those retweets. Like, I don't know how long. When did you first get on Twitter?
2009.
Okay, so it used to be like it was like. Remember when people would say follow Friday, follow this person,
follow
and
Friday, hashtag
FF, you're right. Yeah. And then it got, that to me was such a nod to how selfish we are as people, because it was like, well, that person gave me follow. So
go
I
back.
guess.
Gotta go
And then
back.
it's like, God, I hope somebody with more followers would, you know. And then it just got to a thing where it was such a selfish
Yeah.
deal. But when someone with a lot of followers retweeted you, or Patton Oswalt was the first one for me that was like retweeting me and telling everyone to follow me, and I'm like sitting in a newsroom in Houston going, and no one knew. By the way, I was sitting in the newsroom for almost a year, and no one knew it was me. And I went from 0 followers to like, I mean, it would be one day he would do something, or Christina Applegate all of a sudden was like, and I would look and like, oh shit, why do I have 6,000 emails?
That's wild.
Because it would, I had to turn the notification off.
Yeah, I never had them on.
So at first I did, then I had to turn it off.
Yeah.
And then immediately I was like, whoa, holy shit. And then one day
This is a thing.
I tweeted something, and someone in the newsroom goes, Is that you? And I'm like, yeah.
So tell anybody.
Yeah, my news director was like, hey, I need to talk to you for a second. Just don't mention where you work. And I was like, 10-4.
That's wild though when you think about how it could kind of like social media can like spur careers.
Yeah, I did a panel at South by Southwest a few years ago about that. Like it was me, this guy Josh Hara, and a gal named Megan Amram.
A gal.
Yeah.
Southern of you.
I know. Like
you've been in LA for a while now. I think it's time to drop that. But go ahead.
I know. I still like it. It's just gonna keep. It never goes away.
Gal named
this old dang old. I was just on the East Coast doing some shows, and someone goes, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I go, "Yeah, oh man, my friend's he's fixing to take me shooting." It was like the whole room just stopped and turned around and like
wrangle up some hogs.
I'm like, yeah, he said tomorrow he's fixing to take me shooting. We're gonna go to a gun range, and I'm sitting there like fucking Wyatt Earp. But yeah, but it's so interesting that something like, I don't believe it could happen today.
Yeah, no,
that kind of like, because there's so many people and there's so many more things. Yeah. Now there's Instagram, Snapchat, like it was just like, we went from like MySpace to Facebook to and it was like, it was different. And
it's interesting that I love Twitter, and the reason why I love Twitter is because I feel like everybody has their social media of preference.
Yeah,
and I think Twitter's like, to me, it's like the battle of ideas. Like you're really just fighting people's thoughts. Yeah. Right. And so it's like people arguing with dialogue, and like that's why I don't really like Instagram. I don't really like Facebook, because it's just not the same atmosphere. The atmosphere is just different. It's like
well, do you find it's like with Twitter right now, it's so different because there's a lot of anger and hostility right now with politics, and that's something I just steer clear of. I'm like,
I noticed that,
because I'm like, look, I'm a political atheist. Like, I don't believe in any of them.
I don't believe in none of y'all.
I mean, I'm like, I don't know you. Yeah. And the way people are willing to dive on a grenade for a total stranger.
That's true.
That if you pass someone on the street and they don't know you, but you're sitting there taking up for them left and right, it's like, no.
It's like the epitome of like tribalism, and like us as humans, like there's something that our beliefs align with. Yeah. And then if that's my guy. Yeah. That's it's like you're rooting for teams, really. And it's really...
and when there's a fuck up and people are like, well, I mean, who didn't do that? It's like they've already
you got your excuse.
I love watching people like tread water when it's like, I mean, I had a hard time with Bill Cosby. I was like, I grew up loving Bill Cosby, and then all this is coming out. I'm like, whoa.
That's tough.
Shit.
See, I'm having trouble with it because, like I said, I thought he was. I feel like he's guilty, right?
Oh yeah,
I feel like he did it,
sure.
Right? But the whole Leaving Neverland thing, came out, and I thought Michael Jackson was guilty, and I dug into the allegations. I just released this Michael Jackson part, so I like talking about it because I have all this useless information now.
Right. Oh, I'm with you.
And so I'm talking like 3 weeks of like digging through documents.
I'm the same.
It's annoying, and so I know all this shit about this case. But anyway, so like I thought I knew about that case, and I thought, but like I came out with a different opinion when I really dug into it, and so it kind of changed the way I think about everything. And now it's like I can't have an opinion about this shit because I don't know. I have no fucking clue.
And that's the thing is there's no when there's no
except OJ, he did that shit.
Yeah, but when there's no way to go, okay, at the end of this, it was like the Brett Kavanaugh thing. Like everyone was saying, oh no, there's no way she's lying, and then he's lying. Both sides are doing this. Yeah. But at the end of that whole thing, there was never going to be a gavel that went, guilty or not guilty. You still were walking away with your own opinion. Yeah. And Michael Jackson, like, someone was just telling me the other day that there's like some building around here that's the Michael Jackson School for whatever, music, something. And how can that still be? And I go, because he wasn't found guilty. Never, yeah. And they'll never take it down because he was innocent. I mean, in the eyes of the law, right. You know, the people that should go to jail are those ones that just wait out of the courtroom, like releasing doves and shit.
That was wild.
You're like, what are y'all doing the whole time?
Where do you get doves?
Why don't you have a job, and why do you have a box of doves? I mean, I have so many more questions.
So wild. Like, how do you get doves? Like, did you trap them? You trapped doves.
You brought a box of. Where do you get access?
So the interesting part was like, so he got accused of 14 counts, right? 10 felonies, 14 misdemeanors. Mm-hmm. She had a dove for each count.
Yeah.
And so for every count,
she's shooting out doves for each count. I'm like,
that's just mad weird. I mean, like, that's not a sane person in my opinion.
Yeah, and I want to know, those doves have got to be so. Where the fuck? Like, how long have they been in the
I was chilling, and this lady came and grabbed me.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, now I don't know where to go. Yeah. Everyone else is taking off different directions.
That's a whole. I always wonder what animals think, but that's a.
What did you think about Jussie
Smollett?
Yeah.
Well, that was I steered clear of that.
Yeah.
From the onset, and
because right now it's such a.
No, I thought it was proof he lied. I mean, I still haven't looked into it because I steered clear of it because to me it sounded like political propaganda. From the jump, I was like, "Yeah, you got jumped by two dudes wearing MAGA hats."
Yeah,
cool. Like, all right, like it's wrong if it happened for sure.
But you haven't looked into
at all. I haven't looked at it. At all.
But when it turned out to be like his two acquaintances that were both Nigerian guys,
See, and
there's a video of them buying red caps and ski masks and rope, like at a hardware store. And I'm thinking, first off, if I was working in a hardware store. And two dudes came in and go, we just want to get these ski masks and gloves. I would be like,
you gotta buy those separately, like
and where's snow mountains around? Like, does anyone even ski in ski masks?
Well, it's in Chicago, so I guess.
I mean, it was cold, but it's still like, hey, can we just get these two gloves?
You should never be able to purchase rope and ski mask together
and gloves.
like
nothing about it.
What you got going on?
Right. If I was behind the camera, I'm like, do I see something? Say something?
It's cold. I'm pulling the car.
Right.
There's nothing.
But the guys, like when they detain those guys, and as it turns out, they both admitted that it was a hoax. That he had paid them with a check. With a check.
I didn't know it was that whack.
Yeah, and so it just, and then for the charges to be dropped, it was like he had a family member that knew someone that was in, like, it's
rare.
It's really, I mean, that one is interesting because it's such a, like.
But that's why I never react anymore. Yeah. I learned my lesson. When did I learn my lesson?
Does nothing ever surprise you anymore? Yeah. That's how I am.
Because it was just like, it's like, What I notice is people's emotions in general are just fickle. Mm-hmm. And so, like, even if they say they love something, like Nipsey Hussle just passed.
Right.
Now, granted, he deserves every single ounce of admiration and love that he's getting because he was just a man of the people. Matter of fact, it's really sad because I had this list of people that I wanted to get on my podcast. Like, I had like a long list. It was like
me.
Definitely had you on it. For sure, I did. Really did. I'll show it to you. But and so I hadn't touched it since March 6th. Uh-huh. I'm sorry, not March 6th. It was like earlier in the year, like February or something like that. I haven't touched it since earlier. And the first name I had on it sounds corny because he's dead now, but the first name I had was Nipsey Hussle. And it had like, I'm talking about everybody had like scientists in it, but the first one I had was Nipsey Hussle. And I was never really like that into his music. And I got a bunch of homies that just loved him. But I always loved who he was and what he was doing. Like I loved it. And so I wanted to rap with him. And when you look at like the love he's getting, it's just a lot. Like you see people like scalping his funeral tickets at the Staples Center.
Which
like
is just what he would have wanted.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's exactly, get your hustle on. You know what I'm saying? It's just corny. So
people
it's like
find a way to ruin it.
It's like it's I don't know what it is about social media, but it's like it's just these
it's a mob mentality.
Yeah, and
that's what I always feel like. Everyone just like.
I usually just stay away. Like I usually stay away from everything involved with other people.
Well, but that's what I feel about. Like Twitter used to be my favorite thing. Now I kind of prefer Instagram more.
Really, it's interesting.
But only because like I get a lot of people.
You're switching gangs.
Well, no, I mean I still like Twitter was really good to me, so I'll never turn my back on Twitter. But I get a lot of people. Shocking that one took shit, know. And at least on Instagram, when they do it, everyone else sees it, and so I don't even have to defend myself. My followers will go, "Whoop!"
Yeah. Don't you say that?
Yeah, as opposed to me just typically like reading back to back to back.
Instagram's I don't really like it because it's like this place where everything is staged.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And I make fun of it on my stand-up too because it's like, oh my God, bedhead. Yeah, and then you're filtered to shit and your fingers in your mouth Mondays and you're like, what the hell are you doing? That you don't even look like.
You don't look like that.
When I post anything of myself, there's no filter ever. And when people see me sometimes, they're like, oh, you're so pretty. And like in real life, I'm like, thank you. Because I would rather that than go, oh, whoa.
That's not.
Wow.
What you're selling.
You look like, everyone's like filtered in a foggy soap opera.
It's just a weird place to be because it's, I struggle with posting. And if you don't post, you lose followers. And followers in today's society is like currency, right?
Yeah. And if you post too much.
Yeah,
you lose followers.
But so it's like I don't know what to post because like I'm never gonna do a selfie. I don't do that.
You can't do it.
I can't do selfies.
I can't do selfies.
And so I'm always not always, but it's like if I'm like, all right, it's been about a week and a half, I should probably put something up. But like what? I don't know. Like I scroll through my tweets and screenshot that.
Well, I do that sometimes when I can't think of something.
Oh, nothing.
I'll find like because with the selfie thing, I'm sure there's been a selfie here and there, but. For the most part, it's because something's behind me. And I'm trying to go like, look at there's shit behind me. But I've never just been like, look at me. Like,
no, it's interesting for like creators of content, the aspect of like you have to keep your audience engaged.
Yeah.
And you have to find that balance between that and like not losing your dignity. Like, cause
you still want to be yourself.
Yeah, because Twitter's fun to me, and I probably tweet too much because I love the intellectual banter.
Right.
Like, I love fucking with people, and I love talking like, you think this, well, let me show you why that's illogical.
Right.
I love that, but like Instagram's not like that. It's just like look what I'm doing.
Oh, it's a very braggy.
And comment on it.
Yeah. I think of like the ones that stick out for me are like somebody that I known my whole life or whatever. It's like, oh my God, look at my son's report card, straight A's, and my Rolex, and my big ring, and the new car behind me, and it's like you're just like, I saw someone that was like posting, oh my God, I love McDonald's hash browns, and like holding up a hash brown, but you're trying to show you the Mercedes logo on the steering wheel.
No question.
And you're like, really? It just framed
It
perfectly.
kills me because I got a whole bunch of friends that are athletes.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's really wild. You would never thought, but I do. And they'll post they'll be like on a private jet.
Oh,
or
shit.
Them in front of a private jet. And
I could never take that photo.
And it's this fucking quote that has nothing to do with the picture.
Right.
And I'm like, and I was like, dog, this place isn't for me. So like, I don't really do Instagram like that.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like, but you got to stay engaged.
Right.
It's just, I hate it. And I don't know.
My Instagram is like one of my favorite things to do. And actually, I'm like, I just sold a pitch to a network right now that I'm working on a show, but it was kind of based on me like taking the headlines that I'll always go through, like Us Weekly. Someone suffered a nip slip, on the red carpet. I'm like, oh, you should really Google suffer. What? No, she was drunk and her titty popped out on the red carpet.
You know how horrible that is.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, it's so funny. You could just make fun of these like entertainment headlines, and that to me is like,
that's a whole nother culture.
Yeah,
like entertainment. That's
like I love it. Just like the real, like the seriousness that they treat some idiot that's like, oh really? They, it's oh God, somebody's devastated at this point because her flight was canceled, or it's like Kim Kardashian's asking for prayers. That her flight. I'm like, Yeah, I'm gonna make fun of that.
It's a weird culture, man. And it's like I don't understand. I guess I kind of do to a certain extent. It's kind of like it's what they say, escapism.
Yeah,
it's like people are just trying to find things to like escape from their turmoils and trouble. But I'm like, why do you turn to
life.
Yeah, like why do you turn to that? Like it's so like when I escape, and I hate to do what I do. Now that's not what I'm saying, but it's like when I escape, I want to like get something out of it. Like as far as I want to be able to grow from it. Like I learn, like when I escape, like I watch like science documentaries or I read something I can get. Like I don't like to read novels I don't want to shit on anybody's reading.
But when something's real, there's a lot of real stuff out there versus like fiction, nonfiction.
There's things that you can do to occupy your time that are beneficial.
Yeah,
like,
I'm a documentary. That's all I actually watch for the most part, but because I want to learn.
What kind of documentaries are you into?
I love anything that's like somebody's like autobiography, and I love when there's like some of my favorites are Last Man on the Moon, astronaut Gene Cernan, and
what's that about?
He was literally the last man to walk on the moon, but he recently passed away, I think last year or something, but. When Dominic Dunn, who used to have the show Power, Privilege, and Justice, and his daughter was the girl that, not the young girl, but the high school girl that was in Poltergeist.
Right.
And she was murdered when she was like 23. And that made him all of a sudden become this like crime writer. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But Dominic Dunn and Gene Cernan, it's when they reflect and they don't sugarcoat it. That's what I love the most. Right. When somebody reflects on their life and they don't go, I was a hero, like he's sitting there going, we were not good husbands as astronauts, like
That's dope.
When somebody's just honest and just says like, Dominic, he goes, I went broke, I what was I thinking? Right. But when I can watch someone admit their fuck ups and not regret it, but learn from it and go like, those are my favorite.
I love that quality in people though.
I love it. When somebody can just honestly tell you something instead of going, oh, it's so great. I mean, your kids? Oh my God, they're perfect.
And interesting enough is like the childhood I grew up with and the world that I grew up with was like that. It was like this facade that we were made to believe that like this, you had to be this or you had to be that. And like now,
I always call it like, what will the neighbors think?
What will the neighbors think? Exactly.
that was always how I refer to it. It's like, well, the neighbor's a pill popper, like I remember really when I was really little, I left some party with my parents and my dad was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like probably 6 or 7. I said, well, I hope I didn't say anything stupid.
Right.
And he goes, do you think that everyone is at home in bed going, gee, what did Jenny Johnson?
Yes.
He goes, no one's thinking about you. They're all thinking about themselves.
You learned at what age?
I was like 6 or 7.
I fucking learned that probably at like 26.
But it's still like even hearing that, it still was something in my head that I knew, it was something that bothered you. Like I don't want to be talked about, but when you're talking to someone and you turn around and you're like, they are running me into the ground. Like
no question.
I know they're talking shit about me.
No question.
But I can't do anything about it.
I always tell people like other people's opinion of you is none of your business. You can't change that shit.
Yeah, you can't.
But I learned that when I was almost done with my career. It was like when I started checking out mentally. Yeah. It was just like.
But it's got to be, I would think for you, because I'm a huge, Texans fan and everything, a huge sports fan, football fans are just the worst.
It's pretty bad.
They're horrible. I mean, it's
what I learned though? Is like every kind of walk of life that they say that about their fans. They're like, yo, like comedy fans are like, they always want you to tell a joke or something, or like acting fans are like they always call you by your screen name, like or
you
like,
changed my life. I think it was a character.
Yeah. It's like or rap fans would be like, man, it's every, and I think the common denominator is just fans.
Fans like, are fans.
Fans are fans, and like I don't think they understand the human element of you. And
they don't. All of a sudden, you become a poster instead of a human. And the way that, I hate to use this as an example, but it's kind of funny. When Ron Artest got in that fight.
Oh, the punch heard around the world.
Oh my God, right. Yeah. But everyone has taken that still of him about to punch that guy. And to me, that is the epitome of what fans like. I'm just talking shit, fuck you. Yeah. And that guy's face was like, no, shit.
I didn't know he was going to
that punch is coming right to my, like, oh my God, he's getting bigger. Yeah. And the more he walks up to me, like,
that was a wild thing. But that's the thing is when people like realize the human element of you.
Well, like when you're on Twitter, I find this too. When you reply back, how many times is like, bro, I was joking.
Yeah. All the time. I'm like, why the fuck are you talking to me then? Like,
because they think you're not looking, and it's like, look what I wrote to Arian Foster, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, why would you?
That's a whole other element that's a weird element. Like, so this whole trolling element, like your whole thing is.
I still don't get that.
You're trying to piss people off.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Well, I mean, I could obviously be guilty of this. Like, I had a thing with
troll.
But no, like, mine is, like, I was telling someone, I'm like, everything that I ever wrote to someone, like, it was always when someone, like, tweet something stupid.
Right.
And I would just retweet it and then add a smart-ass comment.
Right.
I would say that to someone's face because I never said, you fucking die, you piece of shit. You know, like, the way that people don't understand how to use their words. Like, I've made fun of... Okay, like Kim Kardashian, she tweeted one time that she was so pissed off because there was a crying baby next to her on her flight back from Paris.
This is before she had kids?
Before she had kids.
Had to be.
And so I retweeted, I was like, look, I'd cry my eyes out if I was stuck next to you on a flight as well. But I would say that because...
I don't get mad at witty ones.
That's
like, when somebody talks shit to me and it's witty...
If it's funny,
I think...
I respect it.
Yeah, I respect it.
And I would say it to someone's face. I've never attacked, like when she was pregnant with the first kid, and somebody, like, I was reading, people just instantly were like, can't wait to see what you're gonna tweet. And I said, I wish her a happy, healthy, you know. And someone, I will never forget this, goes, don't you hope she has a miscarriage?
Oh my God.
I go, no, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, that's a human being. I'm gonna tease her for being like the celebrity stupidity.
Right.
Like, can you believe it, on my flight? You know, like, that's to be made fun of.
Right.
But I don't wish harm
on a child.
Yeah, and then when she had the kid, everyone's like, can't wait to see what you're going to write. And so all I wrote was, congratulations to Kris Jenner on the birth of her new client. I thought that's totally easy. That's not, it's not mean. It's true.
It's clever.
Yeah.
How do you find, like, what is your writing process as far as, like, when you are doing a bit? Like, what do you go through? Like,
my process will be like when I'm doing stand-up is, a lot of times it's so at night, something will pop in my head and I have to make a note.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, I'll totally forget it.
Yeah.
And it'll just be like, I'll see something and then I'll go like, there's something there.
Right.
There's a thing. Like today, I feel like there's something funny about it, but you know those bird scooters, those little...
I love those.
Okay. I was coming out of the grocery store and I see, Crescent Heights, busy street. Mm-hmm. There's a guy in a car lane on one of those scooters. And there's a whole line of cars behind him honking, and the guy's like, share the fucking road! And even the steering wheel, like his little handlebars were shaking.
Yeah.
That was the funniest shit. I'm like, get out of the way. You're going 2 miles an hour.
The fucked up part is about that.
That made me laugh though, that he's just holding up in the middle. Like he wasn't to the side. Like,
this is the fucked up part about that is when you sign up, because I got Bird, I got Lime, I got Lyft, I got whatever. So I got a lot of them.
You're bragging now.
And I am, you know. It's like $1 ride too. But but the fucked up part about it is, like, it says, like, when you start getting going, it says don't ride on the sidewalk, ride on the road.
But there's bike lanes.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, he's tripping.
Yeah, that was what was funny to me, when there's bike lanes, and that's what you should, be in. But it was just that he was in the middle. He wasn't even trying to, and his handlebars were just shaking. All these cars were just laying on the horn. He goes, share the fucking road. And just the image alone was so funny to me. And I'm like, I don't.
So how do you take either like a funny instance or like a one-liner, and you turn that into like a concept?
Well, it'll just be like, I have to use my writing brain, is what, where I think, okay, I saw this or this happened. What if I saw that and then this happened after? Okay. Like I start like playing make believe in my head. Okay, so this I've taken scenarios in my life where like this happened, but I made it into one. Like this all happened at one time. Right. Where if you can try to think of moments in your life that could maybe meet, like, okay, well, that old guy said this to me, but then this other I'll just make it one old guy. Like shit like that.
Right.
Or like sometimes something will just genuinely happen.
Right.
But I pay attention to everything.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big people watcher.
But I think that's the kind of common denominator for me for like writers and comedians.
Yeah.
Is they're kind of like the overseers of the culture.
Right.
And they kind of like.
But you're like this too, as I've known you for like, I will sit in a party or something and people think I'm really quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm
just talking shit in my head.
In my head, I'm clocking everything. I love when people will tell me something. They're like, you can use this. I'm like, you don't even know what is going on in here right now because, wow.
I've been having trouble lately. I'll tell you why. I am extremely judgmental. And
it's so hard not to be. When something pops in your head, you can't.
But like, you know how they say ignorance is bliss? Like I see people walking around. I'm like, dog, how do you not see the inconsistencies in everybody walking around? Like
I respect it so much sometimes because I wish that I was that ignorant.
Yeah.
I wish that made me happy. 100%. Like somebody's just thrilled to death about some stupid shit. And I'm like, I wish that was how I worked.
It's wild. Like you be in a party or you at a restaurant or something, and you're just looking at people like, God, you're just dumb. Like, how are you just dumb like that? Or like you'll see somebody treat the waiter like shit, and you're just like, you're just a piece of shit.
That's the worst. I've had like how many like business dinners or something that you have with people, and all of a sudden they're like,
Yeah, oh my God.
And I'm like, I waited tables all through college and shit like that. But even if I didn't wait tables, it's how you treat another human.
Yeah.
Like, we're all human beings. I mean,
that's the issue. Is like people see people as like I always try to make like if I feel like you're doing a shitty job, not a shitty job, but like if you're working a job that's like you didn't grow up wanting to be a store clerk, right?
Right.
But it's just like it's paying the bills. Like you got to do. Everybody got to grind. Like there's no shame in any kind of work. But anytime there's anybody in a job like that, I always try to make them laugh and I always try to make them smile and make them feel like they're appreciated. Because it's like
that's a human being.
Like,
you get shot and they get shot, you're both gonna get.
Well, I always looked at it like I hated like Arian Foster, the NFL running back. I used to hate that shit. Like, dog, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at the person checking my bags like, you're not a bag checker. That's just what you're doing at this junction in your life. Like, I always try to carry that with me.
That's a great like my mom and I were talking one day. And I had another phone call and I looked at it and I said, "Oh, hang on just a second." I click over and it was a telemarketer. And I let the person just, well, I didn't, like I was talking to her and I had call waiting and I didn't know. And nowadays they're real tricky. Like the numbers will look like a number that you recognize.
They're getting out of control too. Like
it's ridiculous. And you'll hear, and like you pick up the phone. If I think it might be one, I just don't even say hello. I just wait because they're waiting to hear a voice. And then you'll hear a click. And then you hear like 5 kids screaming in the background and you're like, oh, Miss Johnson?
Hey.
Yeah, hey, okay. And I go, okay, I'm just gonna stop. I know you're trying to talk real fast, and I'm like, I'm just not interested. Right. So have a good day, whatever. And I click back over to talk to my mom, and she goes, I'll just hang up on him. Tell him don't call. And I said, do you think that the person that you hung up on wants to be a telemarketer?
They grew up loving that.
This is their whole childhood dream. Like, I'm imagining shit hasn't really panned out for them. So I don't think they need. And how many times a day are they hung up on?
Yeah.
I don't want to be a dick, but
it's rare that I'm rude. I'm only rude like if it's like I'll even give people a chance. Be like, hey man, you ain't got to talk to me like that, man. And if they still on, I'm like, all right, well then fuck you, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but how many people like you're leaving a game or something, you're walking out and Texas lost or something. It's from a far safe distance over a fuck you. And
no, it happens. Yeah.
Oh, I've seen it a million times, and I think, God, I've gone to like, I remember when y'all were like right when I first moved out here and y'all were playing, and I flew twice to like Oakland to watch. We played San Francisco or whatever, and
that was
a
funny game.
But for like to be in the stands as an opposing team fan,
I had never had that experience.
Right, because I'd always just covered games like when I was a sports producer, and so this was like really being. I purposely was like I had like a Texas t-shirt on, but I had a jacket over it and everything. I couldn't believe like these are families with little kids, and they're just screaming and shouting.
The shit,
fucking piece of shit. Yeah. I went to a game. It was right when Connor Barwin went to the Eagles.
My guy.
Yeah, I love Connor.
He's amazing.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go watch Connor play.
Oh, Philadelphia's the worst.
Well,
no disrespect to Philly.
Yeah, but in San Francisco they were playing.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I was gonna watch Connor play. And so I'm sitting, the seats that I got were like behind the Eagles bench, maybe 20 rows up. There was a group of guys behind me. The Eagles kicked the shit out of, it was horrible. The guys behind me couldn't even think of shit to talk about, so they started heckling the backup people, going, yeah, your uniform's pretty clean, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, do you work at like Best Buy? What do you do that you feel that you can sit there?
Wow.
I'm like, do you know what the backup center makes?
Right.
Yeah, with his clean uniform.
And they feel entitled to say that shit too.
Oh yeah, I bought tickets.
Yeah,
like
this is the juxtaposition of this. So like I've had the probably the worst fans. Like no disrespect if you're a fan of this team, but like the experience that I had in those stadiums, the worst fan was Philly fans and New England fans.
Well, it's the people, and it sucks that all of them.
It wasn't shit talking. It was like, yo, just like outright, like, yo, y'all motherfuckers is racist. It's wild,
right?
It's wild, like racist shit that you saying.
Just everything that you could never say.
Yeah, like,
if you tweeted that, somebody would dig that shit up.
If you saw me walking on the street, you would never say that if there was no repercussions.
No.
But the funny part is like the best fans I've ever seen is the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, yeah?
It is the nicest fucking people in the world. Even when they were talking shit to me.
Oh, but they have always been nice. Even when I covered.
It's wild. Like I remember we were playing, I think it was like 2014 or something. I don't know.
You made a touchdown and it was, what's his name?
Chuck Pagano.
Yes. Yeah, Chuck Strong.
Yeah.
And you did some real.
They showed love.
They showed, and you did too.
But even then, like the fans behind the bench, they were like, hey man, fuck you, man, you fucking suck. They were like, hey Arian, you're not good. And I'm like, what? That's so nice.
Right.
And then after the game, they was like, hey man, the same guys. Yeah. Hey man, we were just joking, man. We think you're awesome, man. Yeah. Just it's all good fun. I was like, bro, you have no idea how dope and funny that is. You're good, right? Man. It's all
but
good.
Still, it's like it's fine, and you brush that off and everything because it's funny. You watch them do a complete 180.
Yeah.
But
I like
every day of their life. What do you think that? That grown ass people can sit there and go, shout at another adult.
That's weird.
And then see you do a nice gesture, and then all of a sudden,
it's all good.
You're good.
It's all good. Yeah. I mean, it's really just the kind of the culture of sports. Like even like from like the coach player relationship. Yeah. Like I used to get in trouble in college because they used to like yell at me, and I used to like look at them like, don't do that.
Yeah,
like
you could just tell me.
Because like I'm 18, but I could probably whoop you, and I know I could. And so like that, but I'm giving them that energy. Like don't.
Yeah, don't.
Like
do
you
that.
don't have to do that. Like whatever. Like just tell me what you need me to do, and I'll do it. And if I fuck up, say, hey, you got to do this. And I'll get it done. Yeah. But like, don't do that.
No one wants to succeed more than you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like this.
You're the coach. Yeah.
Like,
that's what I always would think with my parents growing up. My parents were married for 50 years when my dad passed away, and they could not have been more different. Like my mom. Oh my God, my dad was like a redneck dude that grew up on the King Ranch.
Fixing to go shoot.
Yeah, he fixed to go shoot, and chemical engineer. Like, and then my mom's just an only child in San Antonio, and she had a nanny and all this shit, and she's just a junior league, big hair, and I would ask my dad, I go, how the hell are y'all? He goes, we don't have anything in common, but we love each other. But after
the love shit,
and my mom was like a yeller, like growing up, and I just did not respond to that. Like it gave me anxiety. Like you're yelling, and I don't even know it's inaudible at this point. You're just. But if I fucked up, my dad would go, "I was disappointed in you." And walk off.
More impactful.
Yeah, but I respond to that. I respond to someone talking to me. Like you would respond if a coach just goes, "Hey, Eric, let me tell you." Okay, so that play. Yeah.
Care. That's all like.
Yeah, just talk to me and tell me like we're equals. I do not like being.
I never understood that. Like I see like there's this tweet going around where it was something like I think it was a basketball coach, and he was yelling at a player, and he got in his chest, and he did all that shit. And like a lot of my followers will be like, "Yo, what do you think of this?" Because they know, what I do. But like in an instance like that, I still think that's bullshit. Even like, and a lot of people were like, well, "This generation is soft," and it has nothing to do with that. All it has to do is respect. Because say say a player's mad at what a coach did,
right,
and he goes up and says, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" and he does that. Like, you're not gonna react the same way. You're gonna be like, "Man, it's just tough love."
right.
You're not gonna react the same way. You're gonna be like, "What a fucking troublemaker."
Right.
And that's the point. It has nothing to do with how the coaches treat him. It's just like if it was reciprocated, you wouldn't have that same energy. And that's my whole point. If you don't want nobody doing that shit to you, why are you doing it to me? Just because I'm 18? Because I'm 19?
Because you're the coach and I'm the player.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. It's just made up hierarchies.
Well, there's...
And I get you paid anyway. And that's a whole nother part of the equation you don't want to admit.
P.S., by the way, in college, you're not getting paid.
That's what I'm saying.
Shit, you're welcome.
Yeah,
you know.
And that's why I'm waiting for one college coach. Like if I almost wanted to get into college coaching for this reason and this reason alone. Because since I've already made my money and I'm good. What I wanted to do is I wanted to get into college coaching, and I wanted to take all my stuff, because like some of them guys make anywhere from like $1 to $8 million a year.
Oh, it's crazy.
So I wanted to take like 80% of my salary every single year, put it in escrow for every class that comes. Mm-hmm. And so whenever they graduate, whenever they leave, they get a percentage. They get the portion of that.
Yeah.
And so like because the NCAA can't touch it because it's an escrow. It's what like. It's what people do like for child actors. Like you put it in escrow, and so it just sits there.
Unless you have shitty parents and they're like, it's in escrow.
Yeah, 100%.
Is that a city? Or?
But like I'm waiting for one coach to do that for their players, because you got guys like Nick Saban, you got guys like all these fucking dudes who like, dog, you're a multi-millionaire off the backs of 18-year-olds, and you don't feel no type of guilt.
No, none.
Zero. Like there's not an inch of you that's like, man, I got to give something to these guys.
There's
monetarily.
Well, when I was doing sports, like first starting off, I covered the Longhorns a bunch, University of Texas, and Mac Brown was, yeah. And Mac Brown and his wife Sally, like I would go to practices and stuff, and Sally'd come, and oh hey, hug, you know, they'd come for, you know, they had him over for dinner, and I really liked both Mac Brown and his wife, I really did, and I'd go to the games to cover, and it was the Texas Exes, the alumni, and you see all the gray-haired couples, they're burnt orange, they're pleated khakis, and they lose, and these people, that fucking Chris Simmons, I mean, spit his ass. I'm like, you're talking to a 19-year-old, like you're talking to a kid.
It's crazy.
It's a kid.
It's crazy.
Who is just trying.
I got people to this day that talk shit to me about what I did at the University of Tennessee when I was fucking like 18 years old. I'm like, dog, I was over 10 years. That's
Maybe
wild.
It's time we grow up.
Maybe. I don't like it's wild, but it's a culture.
Oh, I would hear people, they're like, yeah, we're calling for Mac Brown's job. I'm like, who are you calling? Like,
who are you calling?
I'm so confused right now. Like I like just looking at a group of like grown ass people that have done well, that are established, that are sitting, you know, in these nice box seats, and they're doing all this shit, and you're yelling at kids, and you're trying to get someone fired for one game. Yeah. I mean, it made no sense to me.
It's just a wild culture. The whole culture is extremely. It's America in general. Actually, I have a problem with the entire place. Well, but the sports culture.
But the way that I think also that, and you've seen this a lot, that people can turn their back so quickly on someone, and it's to watch someone be lifted up and then just to be cast aside. Like I think that Vince Young is someone that has had a lot of problems, and it's something that whatever is going on, he has something going on that we don't.
For sure.
But I watched him in high school, and he was in Madison. Like I witnessed this, and I think someone even back in, was it December, January or something, it was like, where were you when this happened? It was like a college highlight thing of him, you know, that infamous.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Brian Cushing goes, I was right there. Yeah, I was right there. Thanks for the reminder of that, you know. But for someone to be so beloved, you know, like to just embrace him and then just immediately.
They used to say it all the time, like Kubiak, who's one of my favorite coaches that I played for. He always just say it's a short walk from the penthouse to the shit house.
It is.
They used to say that shit all the time.
But that's a great
analogy.
Even with like Kubiak, what was the game that he had a little mini stroke, or he had?
That was it was 2013. 2013.
And that was another Twitter thing where people were going, what did he have, a heart attack as they scored? I was like, that's a person that had a medical. That's scary. Like that was a incredibly scary moment.
Yeah. And I was just to tell him, like, that dude he worked hard.
Oh yeah.
Like Coop worked hard. Like he used to be there at 4 a.m. every day, and he probably wouldn't leave till like 11.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dog, you're not sleeping. I used to tell him that, Coach, go to bed, man. Like
I can't believe coaches live past 50 years.
Coaching and
it's like stockbrokers.
I don't think it has to be like this because I feel like again the coaching culture is predicated off of like. So Koob was under Shanahan.
Right.
Shanahan was under so-and-so. Like whatever. You know what I'm saying? They have these trees. And so like however they saw it, that's what works.
Right.
That's what works. But they don't realize like one, like it's a new generation. Every generation is a new generation. And so you kind of have to adapt. And like you don't have to do the things that this sport has invented. Like you don't have to do like there's a different way. Like I really believe with my heart of hearts that like if I was to try to coach, I would be one of the greatest coaches ever. Because like I understand the players' mentality. I understand like, but
what
like
a thing to take on.
Yeah, but I would never do it. But like I understand. Right. I understand the psychology of why coaches coach the way they do now, and why why it doesn't work. Yeah. Like when Bill Belichick, he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. Right. But when Tom Brady retires, I'll be surprised if he doesn't retire too, because you're not going to be as successful without Tom Brady.
No, it's like watching some celebrity couple get divorced. You know,
yeah,
like,
exactly what it's going to be. Exactly what it's going to be.
You could do better.
Exactly what it's going to be.
Because it's like, no, that marriage work, that combination. There's coaches like, do you watch the Hard Knocks? You know, the HBO. Can you watch that?
I did before I got into the NFL, and then when I got in, I was like, yo, this is tough.
Is it hard to?
Yeah, I couldn't watch.
And the way that they do it, because they show that. They purposely make you like a player, so you can watch them get cut.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, but I was watching the Browns one, the Cleveland Browns, and like that Baker Mayfield, love the guy. I think he's just an interesting. Yeah, he's walk on twice. Right. To, Texas Tech, Oklahoma. I mean, to walk on twice, win the Heisman, and then everyone's like, "Well, his size." You're like.
Yeah, I got into Twitter beef with Baker Mayfield.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, it wasn't.
But he's like when he loves he seems to welcome.
Yeah, no, but he got mad at me. So I think it got retweeted. I don't follow the Cleveland Browns, obviously, and so it got tweeted into my timeline and said like he was like doing that little dance that he does.
Oh yeah,
and they said your QB would never, which it's whatever.
Yeah,
it's. Whatever.
They said that your QB like shouldn't be doing that or something.
It's like they're appropriating like.
Oh, because he's white, or
no? They're appropriating like it's a saying like amongst black folks. So they'll be like, "You would never do this." Like it's just like saying like. I don't even know how to explain it. How would you explain?
No, I just meant like who was talking shit. That's what I was trying.
No, that's what they said. So like it was
to you.
QB would no, it wasn't to me. So the Cleveland Browns tweeted him dancing.
Oh, and said QB.
And they said your QB would never.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Right?
I got you.
So,
right. That's what I was.
Or your QB could never. They said your QB could never.
Right.
And then I just put an asterisk above it. And I said would never, because it was like, and this was my whole point. Was like, yo, like if you think you're dancing well, like we just have opposite opinions on what good dancing is.
Right. Yeah.
And that's all. Like I'm not talking shit. It's just like
it's a matter of taste.
You can't dance well for like this is what it is. And like he got like all the He's like.
He does get offended about it.
Yeah,
I mean, he's fun to watch, but I don't know the guy. I've never met him, but he's just an interesting.
Like dog, he said, I used to have a lot of respect for you, man. Bullshit, you ain't never hollered at me. But anyway, he said I used to have a lot of respect for you, man. He said I know you're too cool to show personality, but sometimes I was like, dog, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? It's wild, but like this generation is an entirely different.
But you said the thing is to me, it's probably because you said something and that got under his skin because it was you.
Because he knows he can't dance. Like, come on,
but his like
that's
level.
Not hating. Like you can't dance. Dog.
No, but like
I can't dance, so I don't.
But coming from you, I'm sure that was like, whoa. Like I bet that
probably
poked him in the chest. Like
probably. I guarantee I'm not the first person that looked at him and be like, fam, you probably shouldn't do that.
Like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing, dog?
You're not a good dancer, dog.
But people like that to me is something that's interesting because I bet. There's people who would like. I'm sure he has a lot of respect for you, and so
I doubt it.
But coming from you, that was more like
it meant more because my
like,
pedigree. But
if I had said the same thing, it would be like, I wouldn't have even got a reaction.
And then like to this day, I get Brown fans tweeting at me. Like if he does something good or something happened, with, like when OBJ went to the Browns.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh yeah, what do you think now? I'm like, dog, I don't dislike him.
Right.
I just don't think he could dance. Like, what has nothing to do with football.
But people are like,
I don't even dislike him as a human. Like,
I know, but that's also like what we were just saying about like just the mob mentality or something. It's like, you know, I think that if you like someone, it's okay to not like certain things. You don't have to. It's pros and cons. It's like you can majority like something, but maybe I wish that.
And then like there's these like why like there's this dude that, because my DMs are open. Mm-hmm. So there's this dude that hit me with like no exaggeration, like 100 messages. Like,
well, that's a little cuckoo.
Yeah, he's wild and like fuck you, fuck you, Baker Mayfield for life. And I'm
like, Jesus, suck his dick already.
Or like you're gonna kill somebody, though.
You left the comment. I meant to say this when I reposted something. Remember the guy working out? And he was like having his friends throw medicine balls on his stomach, and then they put a rubber band around his waist, and he's running like as fast as the treadmill could go, and then he jumps off and lays down, and these guys just start taking turns throwing medicine balls, and I'm like, what is I don't know what's going on here.
The worst workout I've ever seen.
And you said you were like, that's the funniest shit, or you wrote like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in a gym. And that guy that was in the video goes, I could run circles around you, man. And you replied back, there's no doubt in my mind that you would literally run circles around.
I was convinced. I'm positive.
Yeah, I'm like, you were 100% gonna try to start running circles around me. I ended up clicking on that guy's page. Right. I hope you did.
No, I did.
That's all it is.
He was doing that. I knew he was.
Every single video, every single post was him just losing his mind.
Weirdo,
doing
man.
Workouts that you would throw your back and your dislocate things.
And I ain't even hating him. If he got a big following and you do your thing, but it's just.
But even that, like when somebody has a big following for doing some stupid shit, you're like.
That's just another thing that kills me about social media is like if you look like. There's this the little girl that was on Dr. Phil.
Oh, the Cash Me Out.
Cash Me Outside?
Yeah.
You know she has like 14 million followers now?
And she's got like $14 million. Like she's...
No, she probably got more than... Well,
I mean, she signed deals and shit.
Yeah,
and I'm
she
like... She
made a living off of that shit.
There's a part of me that's like, how much shit I always turn down? Because I'm like, I don't want to sell it. I'm not going to sit there and
but
like...
That's the thing though, is like how much is it worth?
Yeah, like my dignity is... Even when I'll post things where I'm like, holy shit, y'all got to try something. Everyone's like, sell out. I'm like, I'm getting nothing from this. If I like something or if there's a movie or song or a bit, like I'll say, y'all should check this out. This is good. I get no kick. I don't get it.
Yeah, nah, it's a weird world we live in, man. I don't know how to, it's hard to navigate.
Yeah.
It's hard as hell to navigate. Yo, I want to pivot real quick because I want to ask you about your experience about this. You were on Rogan.
Yes.
So was that. What was your experience about being on Rogan?
I really enjoyed it. I had no idea it was 3 hours long.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point I was like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm gonna have some more water.
We are still here talking.
It's just two of us. It's just us. Like, but he's such an interesting guy.
He's so good at like keeping it going.
I mean, and also like. I like people because I feel like I'm this way. I know a little bit about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm not like, there's certain things, I may be like more well-read on, but I know, and I read enough. Like I understand things. He's very much, like he has a knowledge of just so much stuff.
Think about he's probably the biggest podcast, one of the biggest podcasters ever.
Oh, I mean, I didn't even recall, like I was like, whoa, holy shit. He asked me, this always made me laugh. He goes, no, I bet you people like sending you like DMs or dick pics all the time. And I went, well, not enough. You know, you think I'd be getting, I mean, I'm like, come on now, I should be getting.
Send a dick pic.
And I said, like I've had dick pics where I'm like, I've seen that dick. You took that off Google Images or whatever. And I mean that when I couldn't have got done with that podcast quicker. It was, it was just like a treasure trove of cocks. Just, and all these in different scenarios, like I'm outside or in a field or in a
the variety. You appreciate.
But to me, I was like, screenshot, all of my friends. And like that's funny to me. Yeah. And like I love Rogan. I think he's such an interesting guy.
Yes,
and
it's so wild.
Great.
Because like if you look at like the variety of guests that he has on his show and the tenure of he's been doing it like I watched his first podcast.
Yeah.
Just to see like, yo, I wanted to kind of dig into his journey. And I watched his first podcast. And it was like, he set up a little camera on his computer. And he was like, is this on? It had like some stupid bubble effect that was fun. I was like, what is this? It was just like, it was just wild. And so he like he just grew from that.
How long ago was that?
I think it was like 2008, 2007.
Oh wow.
It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. And to see what he's grown into now. And it's interesting actually because he was like a conspiracy theorist.
Oh yeah.
He was like super like the government, and that's kind of where he gained his fan base actually. Right. And then
because he questions things.
Yeah, and
which
then
I love.
And then the dope shit is like as he grew, and he kind of understood how to think. He became a little more logical in his thinking.
Right.
And the interesting thing is like you see a lot of his ex fan base will be like, oh, he changed. He's a government shield now. And it's like, nah, dog, he just.
And he brings Alec Jones on his podcast. Yeah. Like one of the biggest.
I didn't watch the last one. I should have watched the last one because like they were beefing and then he came back on.
But I like that. I like that he brings people, you know, something with Rogan also as a comedian, you know, he was the one that got in Carlos Mencia's face on stage.
That was crazy.
But
so like as a comedian, like what do you feel about that whole stealing joke thing?
Well, to me, that's something that really, it's the most offensive thing to be accused of. And I have it happen. It'll happen to me where people go, that tweet that you, thank God for Twitter, because you can just look. There's a date and a time. And it's like, look, boom, your friend stole this shit from me. But I'll end up getting pissed because I'm like, somebody's accusing me of stealing my own joke. So then I go and I'm trying to, type in so I can prove. And the fact that it would even take up 6 minutes of my time to do something to a total stranger, and then when I show them, they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
But it's so offensive. And with comedy, you're definitely gonna have similar thoughts.
Right.
I mean, there are certain things that are like, that's an obvious joke.
Right.
Especially when it's something like if you're live tweeting the Oscars of Super Bowl or you see something and it's like everyone's making that.
Yeah, I did that once with I think it was when Trump like the Golden State Warriors said that they're not coming to the White House, and he was like, "We're not, you're not invited."
Right.
And so I said, "You can't fire me. I quit." Yeah. And then like everybody was like, "You stole that from," and it was like 3 minutes earlier. I'm like, how the fuck would I have known?
Yeah, and you're looking, you're like, you have 12 followers, and I'm not one of them. How the hell would I have found this? When that whole thing, which is still kind of fascinating to me, this whole college admissions scandal with.
Oh, that's wild. Oh, it's not that wild, but it's.
But it's like wild. It's wild given the Desperate Housewife and Aunt Becky from who saw that coming? Yeah. Like that is the craziest thing. But I mean, when I first saw that, and I was like, that is. So I found that Fire Festival thing.
Oh my god!
And the
That's
guy
a whole nother...
in that documentary, the guy's like, I was showing up to suck somebody's dick, and I just want to take one for the team, and that guy was like the funniest part of the whole thing for a truck full of Evian water. It was so right when I saw the college admission thing, I just found a picture of that guy and I put, Dad, I want to go to Yale. Just with that guy's face, I'm ready to suck some dick,
That's funny.
I'm like, I was laughing as I never laugh at my own shit. I was laughing as I was posting that. And somebody the next day is like, I kind of thought of that already, all right. I mean, it's not like somebody else couldn't have thought of something similar, but it's it's when people accuse you in this really aggressive way.
So how, as a comedian, do you differentiate somebody who's like when does the community of comedians say, all right, he's stealing jokes? Well, what's the line that you cross?
It's when unfortunately a lot of times it's when somebody starts becoming really successful. Mm-hmm. And when somebody's becoming really successful and everybody's watching, and then you have these other comedians going, that's kind of my joke, or you just changed a word or two, but it has to be something that's really specific. Like if it's a really, really specific thing, Carlos Mencia. I don't want to talk in a class, but like on YouTube, there was things that like Bill Cosby, like he was like literally just saying a black family and making a Mexican.
Yeah,
and
it was the same thing,
and it was so obscure. It wasn't a very generic. It was like a really specific.
And it's like that's Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
and it was one of the most famous specials ever. So it's like, why would you?
Do you think everyone just forgot?
Yeah.
Or I mean, there's something that like, but I guess when you have a specific audience that maybe hadn't seen it, and it's working for you,
right?
And it was working just fine. But but when comedians like, and Rogan was the one that like everyone
he outed him.
Everyone will be pissed off, like mumbling to themselves, but no one ever wants to be the bitter comedian that goes.
Now that's the interesting part to me,
because you don't want to be the one like it should have been me.
Yeah, but I think that's the issue, like because it's taboo.
Oh yeah,
it's very taboo, and it's just like a line you don't cross if you're a comic. It's kind of like it's sacrilegious. You don't want that.
Yeah, because you'll get this stigma that you're like, oh, you're just bitter because she made it and you didn't make it.
No, I was talking about it's taboo to do it.
Oh, it's to do it, yes, but to like
to call people out, like do y'all feel a certain way about people that call people out?
No, you don't. But when someone's like just pissed and all of a sudden they just are really hating on a comedian, and sometimes it won't even be like they stole material. It's like, I don't get it. Why does everybody like they're just mad? It's like, but every
so there's probably a lot of false allegations too. Then
well, and I mean nowadays you can prove, with the internet, it's real hard to not like. I record every one of my sets.
Yeah.
So like when I go up, there's always a bar stool. I put a drink, and I have my iPhone, and I have that voice memo.
Right.
I always record.
That's dope.
So there's no way if someone went, that person, I've got it right there. I said this on this day, or on Twitter. I posted this at this time. It's easy to back your shit up.
Right.
But if you just start focusing on one joke that was stolen from you, and that's all you, it's like you start to look like a.
That's interesting.
Like all of a sudden you're just like, just move on. Just move on.
That's interesting.
It was one joke. Was that one joke going to make you a superstar?
Right.
No, but you learn something about that person and move on.
Do you struggle? Because I mean, now that we're talking about the comedian life and the lifestyle, do you struggle with the? Because I struggle with it. I'm not even a comedian. I think I'm funny, but I think like a lot of comedians struggle with. I won't say depression, but they're not very optimistic about life in general.
Well, I mean, a lot of comedians by nature are like, troubled souls.
Right. And why do you think that is? I
don't know. I always have a joke. I'm like, the worst thing about me is I'm the product of a happy childhood. Like I had two parents. They were there for me. Like, my parents were wonderful parents, but I did grow up in a different manner where I was not flowered up and like look how they were like, yeah, you're the youngest, so you're the lowest. Like if you don't open the door for an older person, man, woman, like there was no gender specific thing at my house. My dad had two daughters, and we never heard, well, because you're a girl, or you. Right. We were just. It was never brought up. You just were raised,
right.
And I think that there's certain things that I look at. Everyone could look back on their childhood and go, even if it was good, find fault.
Right.
I think some people find fault when it's not really there. Some people suffer from actual mental problems. I feel fortunate that I don't have to take, maybe I should but like people that actually have to, they're bipolar, they're, they really get dark. They can go to a dark place. Right. I don't know if that helps some people, like just with their writing or their stand-up. Maybe they I don't know how you're seeing the world. Like, because I can only see the world from my eyes. Yeah. And I look at people and I always try to figure it out, like what it must be like for you, that you be in the NFL, like your brain, you see things the way you see them. And that's how I always, with comedians, it's like, I can see troubled souls.
Right.
And I could see where, Brody Stevens, like that was like really so upsetting because this guy was just, you couldn't find a person that didn't like Brody. I mean, every show I did with Brody, I always stayed around to watch his set because he was just such a, I mean, but he was a troubled soul, and he was open about it. He talked about it. He said, like I can't do this because of, I don't know what that would be like to live with that. I think that would be terribly, it's just a struggle, a daily struggle, and life is hard enough as it is. And
I struggle with it, not to that extent, but to the extent of it's frustrating. I get frustrated a lot because the L's of the world are simple fixes.
Yeah.
But it just takes people thinking logically, and
that's hard.
Yeah, but this is the thing. What I've learned is like there's this thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and what it is it's mad disrespectful on the surface, but it's a real thing. But what it is like uninformed people are so uninformed that they're not smart enough to know that they're uninformed. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, yes, and I don't mean disrespect, but it's like you're so dumb that you don't know that you're not dumb. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like that's what I see with the world, and it's frustrating as fuck. Yeah. And I find ways to distract myself from that because I see it everywhere. Like from the dudes fighting in the club to the presidents pressing the buttons to nuke people or not nuke people. But to send drones, right? Like all of these conflicts, it's not a simple. I mean, it's not a hard fix. It's a simple fix. Yeah. But it's like a whole bunch of egos running around, and it's really I get so frustrated. But I have things that keep me going. Right. But there's times where I'm just like, I'm not leaving the house for a week. Like, fuck this place.
I can just stay here and just work on music like this.
Chilling, dog. That's part where I empathize with Michael Jackson, not to get into that, but the part where I empathize with Michael Jackson is like he lived in a bubble, he grew up in a bubble.
Yeah.
And so
he had a horrible father.
Awful childhood.
He's the breadwinner.
And he can't go anywhere without people harassing him. Mm-hmm. So he built his playground in his house, in his home. Right. And so that's what I kind of did to that extent. Yeah. But like I built everything that I love to do, I built it in my house. Yeah. I got a studio, I got a jacuzzi. Yeah. Everything I loved, I built it inside of my house. And so like I don't have to leave the house for any kind of outside of like I could chill there for weeks and just be good.
But don't you want to after a period of time you don't want to just be a hermit and not leave? Like you want to get out and like
the only thing that it's the ambition of I have shit I want to do. Right. So I want to I love like I released a music project and I had a show. Yeah. I loved that. It was so fun. Yeah. So like shit like that.
And that energy like that.
I loved that. And like it was sold out and people loved it. It was a great time. Yeah. I wanna go back to school for physics. Mm-hmm. I have to leave the house for that.
Right. Yeah.
But so shit like that I want to do that'll fulfill me as a human. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta leave the house for that. But for the most part, it's like I don't know. Maybe it's the I don't want to say burden. Yeah, it's like a burden of success. It's
but you've been so successful in one thing, and you can't fly under the radar.
Well, it's not even that. What it is
But you can't fuck up privately.
That's true. Yeah,
you can't privately
100%.
fuck up.
You can't privately fuck up. All it's all they show you all your receipts.
Yeah.
But the big issue I have, and maybe it's just America, and I haven't traveled enough abroad. Mm-hmm. But I've seen every corner of this country, and I still don't see a lot of hope in this country. Yeah. Like, I'm extremely pessimistic about this country. Yeah. Like I think we're on the brink of a civil war. Yeah. Not to get too deep on it, but like I think that's where it's headed. And it's like I just don't see a lot of hope for this country. Yeah. And so like, I mean, I went to Japan, and that was the most beautiful experience that I've ever, like I loved it. The people there are beautiful people. Mm-hmm. But then you leave and then you realize, they have the highest suicide rate in the world. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, this world that we live in is just so, it's depressing. It's just like these problems that we create. Yeah. We create all these problems. And like there's real problems where people have like diseases, like terminal illness. Right. Those are real problems.
That's what actually sometimes puts it into perspective. Yeah. When you're like, 100%. I'm sitting there all pissed about something. Oh.
Exactly.
Oh wait, that's a real.
Yeah.
It's a real issue. Like in I always would hear people say, "Oh, go to Dubai. It's westernized." Yeah. You know. Yeah. Yeah. You go there. It's clean. I mean, you couldn't. There's nothing. But and you're not having to wear burger. But if you're not, they're still like.
Yeah. So
you're not comfortable.
One of my sister's friends, and she goes to my friend. She was a teacher. She taught in Dubai, and like. She was like, it was the worst thing ever. Like they threatened her life on some, I forget exactly what it was.
Even though they say something's legal, it's not. Yeah. Like your eyes, like they're cutting eyes at you.
If you do something illegal, like it's like the death penalty type shit. So it's like, So it's like, even when you travel, it's like, holy shit, bro. It's
different.
It's just wild. Like, it's just like a whole bunch of humans. Like, it's just, I get it why you don't want to be here, because I don't either. So you make your own little world. That's what I've done. I've created my own little.
Yeah, there's like, I think it's interesting. Every time I fly, this is one thing I always notice when I'm like traveling internationally.
Ginger ale. For some reason, I never drink ginger ale unless I fly. Like, when I fly, I get ginger ale. I don't know.
That's interesting. I'm this like Diet Coke. Never drink fucking Diet Coke. And I'm like, I'm a Diet Coke.
I don't know where it comes from.
And then it's like, what would you like as your meal? What reheated thing? And let me give you this silverware that's freezing cold. And you're like, what?
It cools the meat down.
Yeah, like somebody asked me the other time I was flying, and they brought the food, and it was like, oh, here's your roll in completely frozen butter.
Oh, man.
And immediately I took the roll and I put it on top of the butter. And they're like, why do you do that? I'm like, because the roll's hot, it's cold, and I already learned that whole trick.
This is how you cook your meal.
Yeah, I'm like, I got it. But I love, just notice now, watching people in the airport. That's the most fascinating thing.
Oh, people watching it.
People watch in airports is completely fascinating, and especially when you're traveling abroad. Like, I was my friend and I, we decided to take a vacation to Berlin.
That's dope.
And I went we flew separately, and I flew to Frankfurt and then to Berlin. And in Frankfurt, it was like, there's no way that plane wasn't taken off on time with those Germans.
Right.
You know, like this is taken. In Japan, they'll fucking kill themselves if the plane doesn't.
Oh, no question.
I mean, they're like, they've disrespected their family, their country.
Question. Yeah, it's a real thing.
And then I land in Houston.
Shit happens.
Their airport workers are still sitting on benches.
That was the biggest like cultural shock I had. Like, so I went to Japan and I spent a week. I spent a week there, and it was just full of gratitude, and it was full of. I went to the McDonald's there because I was like, I want to see what the McDonald's popping like in Japan.
Right.
And they brought my food, and it was delicious, McDonald's, and they brought it to me so fast, and they were just like bowing.
Was it good?
I think it was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. Everything. Like, we were switching trains, and we didn't know where the fuck we were going. I went with my boy, and we asked this lady, like, because when you get there, you kind of start to speak a little bit of the language, and we kind of just asked her, like, yo, where's this?
Right.
And she said, like, follow me. Yeah. And she fucking ran. She jogged to the next train, got on with us, took the train with us, and she was like, this is your stop. And then I'm like, yo, was you not getting on the train?
Holy shit.
And then I landed in America. I landed in, where did I land? I think it was LA. We landed in LA. And I had never been to the customs part of LA or whatever. And I said, my man, where's baggage claim 1? He goes, it's over there. I'm like, you fucking dick.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Or they'll look at you and go,
read the fucking sign.
Yeah. Like, what are you? Oh, sorry.
Lady got on the goddamn train with me and took me to you're a dick.
Oh my God. But that's exactly how, I mean,
wow.
And you watch people like, that's one of the funniest fucking things. I love watching people board too. There's always like a confused old lady with a boarding pass, and they're like, "No, we didn't call your group. You're actually on American Airlines."
Wrong flight.
You're the other way. And then I see some like girl with a little teacup dog, and she's like, "You said people with disabilities. I have anxiety, so can I board the plane first?" And they're like, "No, for people like in a wheelchair, and not but people like that." Like, I went and did that whole thing where you can get the pre-check and the global entry.
I had a misdemeanor in college, so it's still pending.
Oh, so you can't do that?
It's pending. Well, I have to. What happened was I got arrested in college for fighting, and it got expunged from my record. But I need the actual court document. I've just been lazy. I have to actually call the Tennessee court.
Oh, shit.
And say, yo, we need the documents to say it got expunged.
Oh.
And so they're waiting on that.
That was like one of the greatest things, though. Except
it's dope.
I had to drive to LAX for no flight.
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah.
And the whole thing was like 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like, once you get there, it's like, okay, they already know your social security number. They know that, I haven't. Yep. They're like, okay, boom, boom.
Yep.
And the first time I used it when I came back from, I guess it was Germany, and there's that customs line that just snaked around, and then it's like global entry. The only thing was, like, I just sailed through everything. The baggage was never, I had to wait for, an hour for the bags, but I didn't have to wait in that.
I'd rather do that.
Yeah. I was like sitting on the floor. There was somebody's dog in a crate. And I'm like petting the dog. But
that's another thing, seeing people's patience at the airport. So like whenever there's like two lines, like say you get through security and there's two lines that you can choose from.
Yeah.
Like people are like, which one? Which one's fast?
What kind of shoes do they have? This one shoes, no belt. Yeah,
and then so like there was this lady behind me, like I chose this line and then you know, the other line is moving, and ours is kind of at a standstill. And she's like talking shit to her husband. She's like, I told you the other line was faster. And I'm like, yo, bro. Like,
oh, so you're in such a rush.
Yeah, I'm like, even if it is, like, you can go ahead, dog. It's never that serious.
Oh,
like, it was hilarious, though.
I love, like, I think I had to fly through. I was going on a vacation, I think the Bahamas or something. Went from Houston to Fort Lauderdale, and then took some Buddy Holly plane. Propellers and the pilot was like 12, you know. He's like, oh good, yeah, this is gonna end well. And I had to go through the security at Fort Lauderdale, and I had a necklace on, like kind of like this, and I usually will know to like turn it around because I know that metal, and if I do that, they don't have to pat me, you know. But it was like I forgot to do it, and they're like, we have female TSA to come and do it, pat. And this woman, I still think about her every day. She just came up, just sliding her feet. She was still chewing her lunch. Like, she's like, And I said, it's my necklace. And I look at her name tag and I go, Aquanetta? Is that what that is? She goes, girl, it's Aquanetta, and I'm holding it, and I go, I'm just gonna give you a hug. And she goes, oh, come in, girl, come in and give me a hug. I was like, and she just started laughing, and she goes, this is my highlight of my like
swag,
because of like, yeah, somebody was nice to you, and like everybody must hate the fucking TSA.
I definitely
people.
hate the TSA. I have a horror story. So
they must hate themselves too. Like.
It's possible. I hope this dude hates himself. I was flying out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I went to go visit my mother, and I fly maybe 2 times a month.
Yeah.
Like just on average, and sometimes it's more than that, right? Yeah. So like I'm on the plane. I live in planes. I live in hotels. Yeah, I'm on. Right. I've been on planes with you. I don't know how many times. Right?
Yeah, I mean, but like doing stand up, like I'm. Yeah, always.
And so I just live on planes, and so I'm always going through security. Like I understand the protocol. I get it. And so I was traveling. I had my little daughter with me, and we put the stroller through security, and for some reason the stroller sent off a red flag, and I'm like, all right, fuck it, check the stroller, like do what you gotta do. Well, because the stroller checked out the red flag, I gotta get additionally searched, and I was like, fuck it, all right, we good, it's cool, I'm still good, do your thing. And so he starts searching me, and he gets to my legs, and he like rides his leg.
What's he doing that with?
He rides. Like, who has weapons?
Hey.
No, he starts riding my leg, and he goes. People that aren't watching, but he goes like up like 3 times and goes like that. And I'm like, whoa! I do. Like it's not the first time I've been specially selected for an additional search, fam. This is like. All my life I've been flying.
You're not at a tailor getting an inseam.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And so he does it 3 times, like, fam, what are you doing? He's like, hey man, like you can't move. I'm like, dog, you just touched my balls.
Right.
I told her, like, I was like, that's not. I was like, yo, this is not the first time I've been searched, dog. Like, you can't do that. He's like, sir, I'm just doing my job. I was like, all right, like, do your job. Like, but chill out. And he does it again, and he goes, whoa. And this time he's cuffing.
Oh, Jesus.
He cuffs, and I'm like, dog, like, no.
Did you turn your head and cough at that?
No, right? And so I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? He goes, sir, you're getting really out. Yeah, he's like, you're getting really out. I was like, dog, you're touching my dick. Like, what are you talking about? I was mad as fuck. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, go get your supervisor. I was like, you're not touching me no more, dog. You're not touching me.
But they have too much power.
Yeah, 100%. And so the security comes, like the police comes, and they're like, yo, sir, you just need to calm down. I'm like, I'm fine. Your dude's touching my dick though. Like, I
just don't want.
That's not what. That's not what this is. Like, I've been searched plenty. This is at Albuquerque Airport. I've been searched in every airport almost in America, and finally they let me go and shit. But it's just like, yo, it's one of the worst. Like, how you like, and I got my lady there. I got my daughter there. And like, I'm just like. I'm trying not to be a dick.
I've literally done nothing but put a stroller through that oddly sent off something.
Yeah, and I gotta get. But this is the thing. Like, she didn't get. Like, I had my lady with me. She didn't get strip searched. It was just me.
Oh.
And they was like, "Oh, sir, you got it." And I'm like, "But I've seen that story before.
Yeah,
I've seen that story before, and they do it a lot. But
but it's so frustrating. Like even when you're like the way that flight attendants can just be pissed at their job, but they have way too much power. If you just go like, I actually ask you if you could get me like, whoa, I'm like, are we doing like I just
I've actually never had a bad experience with a flight attendant.
Well, it's not like it's just more of their personality of, you can tell they're so done with their job.
Yeah.
It's the ones that are like just half-assing it.
Yeah.
And you ask for something like, okay,
Yeah. I say I've always just had a good experience. You know what it is? I usually
for the most part I have, but I've had a few.
Yeah, see, I never had that. But like when you fly in a team plane, like this is when I realized all the plane regulations were bullshit. Like I fly on a team plane.
Yeah.
Like with the like with any kind of sports team.
Yeah.
So it's just a plane full of all the teammates and like the reporters and the coaches.
Right.
And there isn't a fucking person with a seatbelt on. The tray tables are down, the seats are back. Like none of that shit matters. They're just like nobody cares.
Oh yeah.
But like when you get on a commercial flight, they try to pretend like this is safety.
It's like
I'm like, dog.
Power. They're like
1,000%. I don't understand what the fuck my seat leaning back.
If this fucking thing plummets to the ground, is it gonna make a difference if my seat is a little further back than up? No.
4 inches is gonna save your life.
Should have worn a bicycle helmet on this fucking thing. Like I never understood that. I'm like, real. And you'll be on flight sometime where it doesn't matter. Like they won't even take my pre-drink. But like I'm still into some here, fine, whatever. But some are like, no, ma'am, could you?
Yeah.
Push it. I'm like, is all of this gonna?
Like some of those regulations are just so it doesn't make any sense.
I never turn my phone off.
No, I haven't done that.
I listen to the same shit. I've got my beats on. I'm always listening to music. They're like, is that on airplane mode?
Of course it is.
No, I'm sitting there still texting until I run out of service. I still feel that push, that initial push. I'm like, oh my God, no.
And I get mad, like, get the fuck, the satellites are up there. We getting closer. What the fuck is my...
Exactly. And then I'm like, now I got to wait for the Wi-Fi. Fuck.
So inconvenient.
It's just Louis C.K., who I know everyone, whatever, but he's a fucking great stand-up.
I think he's a genius.
He's one of the funniest.
It's unfortunate that he masturbates in front of women, but I think he's a genius.
But he had a bit about that because he was on a flight where they were like, and this is going to be the very first flight with Wi-Fi and he said, we get up to cruising altitude 30 minutes in. They're like, we're sorry, it stopped. And he goes, the guy next to him goes, motherfuck. Why does everything bad happen to me? Like, he's like, you've never even experienced this before. Like, you just are sailing through the air in a chair.
In a chair.
He's like, you're majestically flying like a bird, and one thing goes wrong. Oh, fuck. Like,
it would happen to me.
Yeah, it's like I've heard people like go like, we haven't open the door. I'm a doctor. We're not gonna make it in time, and they're like, yeah, we don't just open. It's got a process, like a cabin door. We got to put the jetway thing, and like, wow. But people get. So
you know what I hate? There's two things that I hate on airplanes. I hate that whoever gets the window seat is the mayor, the key master of the window,
of the window thing.
Like, why don't I get a say just because I'm in the aisle? I hate, it's daytime and everybody, the whole plane's windows down, but the guy that you're sitting with, his window is up, and you're like looking at him like, dog, you got to see the problem.
Everyone's laying down with eye masks on, and they're like, yeah. You're like, what are you doing? Just,
I hate.
I'm a team player. Yeah. If I'm got the window seat and everyone else.
Got a good. Like,
shut the.
I even asked.
Light on.
I always ask people like, "Yo, up and down?" They're like, "No, it's good." I'm like, "All right, but like, because it's like, why do I get to curate the?"
Yeah, we paid the same amount.
Yeah.
For I sometimes like the window, and then sometimes I'm like, I always just like the front row.
Right.
I like the bulkhead, so no one will lay their seat back in front.
Like that. The only reason why I like that is because if you have a bag.
Oh, you have to.
You have to put it up top instead of
you do, but you never have to worry about somebody laying their seat back.
I mean, that's true. But if you lay your seat back, it evens out.
Especially if you have the ones with the TV.
Yeah.
And the TV's on the seat in front of you. And
the best are the pods, though, because then you just don't have... The pods are amazing.
Oh, God, I never...
We're definitely talking like...
I
first class problems.
I want to go, can we do another lap around? Yeah. Like, I was going to finish this movie. And I got my blanket and I got my vodka soda. If we could just... Do another lap around here. Just take the long way back.
The other shit that I hate, I fucking cannot stand is when like the plane's landed and everybody's about to get up, and like say you got the window seat.
Right.
You got the window seat and
you gotta wait.
Like no, I don't mind waiting, but it's like I feel like there should be a protocol of like this row goes, then this row goes. Then this, that makes sense.
Like a courtesy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like because we all got to get off. Man.
Yeah, there should be an etiquette that
there's an etiquette. But what happens is if the aisle guy goes, if somebody's waiting, they just start to roll because you're in the window. You gotta you're like dog. Like I still gotta get off.
And this is what you do. You're like,
yeah.
You can't fold it up, and you're like,
and you gotta play, and you gotta play like hopscotch into like when's my you gotta go like feel like just wait. It's like wait 30 seconds. Like it's why I hate that goddamn shit.
There is something, but people. Just flying in general, there should be some form of an Emily Post handbook of how to.
They would fuck that up though.
Oh yeah.
That's why I like them like instructions before like you like take off.
Yeah.
If I ever got in a wreck where you have to follow those,
yeah,
they were gonna fuck that up.
No.
You wasn't listening, and even if you was, you still gonna fuck it up.
I'll try sometimes to listen because I realize like if the person's standing there, I'm like, this is their job, and everyone else is like,
it's so degrading. And I've listened out of pity before.
Yeah, I do it out of like. Yeah. I don't want to be look, they're trying to do their job. I don't want to be an asshole.
I'm paying attention to you.
Yeah, because if I'm right there and I'm like, you're looking behind you and everyone else is like, you know, no one's giving you the respect.
Courtesy.
Yeah. Like to me, that's always bad. Like, I don't know.
It's bad. Shitty humans we are.
Yeah.
But man, this has been a hell of a conversation, man. I appreciate it. It's been so goddamn fun.
Always.
You're my guy, man.
I appreciate it.
No, for sure. But we end the podcast the same way every time.
All right.
And so what we do is from my mother to the astronauts that I've had on to Snoop Dogg to the...
Love the astronauts. I got 3 astronauts.
I've had 1 astronaut. I don't know why.
Which one did you?
Victor Glover.
I'll get you Scott Kelly.
If you... I'm down.
I'll tell him.
Holla at him.
Yeah, I will. I'll text him.
I text him right now.
Yeah.
After this. But so what we do is I'm trying to get Jim Carrey on the podcast.
Okay.
And so like we're putting together like this compilation video. So everybody from all of them have after the podcast, they all kind of advocate and they look in the camera and they try to say, yo, Jim Carrey, get on for me. So I need you to bang for me for Jim Carrey. Yep.
Jim Carrey, I need you to get on this podcast. If I've been on, Jim, come on now.
There it is.
In Living Color. Fire Marshal Bill. That was my favorite.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Fire Marshal Bill. Come on, Jim. You could do it, man. I trust you.
Much love. I appreciate it. So if anybody need to reach out to you, where can they find you?
On Twitter, Instagram, Jenny Johnson High Five.
Yeah, on Facebook?
Yeah, it's the same thing on Facebook, but
I'm not on Facebook
really
either.
check it. And then JennyJohnsonHigh5.com, and also keep checking everything for my like tour dates and stuff like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Funny as hell. I've been to your stand-up plenty of times, and
you've always shown up. Which I always appreciate.
Yeah, you don't never disappoint. You're funny.
And you missed meeting Scott Kelly at one of the ones that you came to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was there.
I didn't know he was there.
Yeah, he was. They set him front row, dead center, and I'm like,
you should have talked shit.
You can't sit an American hero, and then while I tell my dick jokes, you know, it's like this is so mortifying. Like I looked over him the whole time because I was so like, why would you sit Scott Kelly, who just came back from a year in space?
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm like. Great.
You want to hear dick jokes?
Yeah. Like, fuck, so embarrassing.
That's hilarious. Nah, but y'all reach out to her, follow her.
Yeah, follow, and also on iTunes and Doing It with Danny and Jenny. That's my podcast.
With Danny and Jenny.
Yeah, with Danny Zucker, who's a really funny writer. He's executive producer on Modern Family, and yeah. That's it.
Perfect. Well, I got to do y'all podcast.
Yeah.
Where can I find a podcast? Do you have social or?
You can find it on iTunes.
iTunes.
Yeah.
Okay. iTunes. So y'all look out for that, and I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Much love.
All right.